and welcome to Amy Hart Mum Club. In this podcast, I'll be sharing the highs and lows of parenting. Plus, each week I have a gaggle of fabulous guests to talk about their journeys too. Now, my guest today is we've actually been on holiday together, I think once. Yeah, once. We've actually been on holiday together with P&O Cruises, and she's just amazing. She's a mum to three. She's a vlogger. She's an influencer. It's Nicole Corrales. But hello, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. So just for people who maybe not know you, so Nicole is a mum to Harlow, Lake, and Remy. She's engaged to Casey. Now Casey and Nicole had they still have a YouTube channel called the Nacey Family. Now I want to talk about, you did daily vlogging for a long time, didn't you?
We did, yeah.
But you had Harlow. What was that like? How full on was that?
Do you know what? It's actually crazy now looking back that we were daily vlogging, because I don't know how we did it, but that's basically how we started. So we started before we had kids. I was actually at uni. Casey was just vlogging as like his, side hobby. He would just pick up the camera whilst he was still at work. And it just felt so natural, because I feel like back then there wasn't so much expectation on, content has to be over a certain length of time. It was literally just picking up the camera and just catching up with people. And we were like vlogging, posting, vlogging, posting. There wasn't really much thought into it, to be honest. And like I said, it was before kids, so I have no idea how people still do it, because I know some people still do it to this day. But it was actually amazing, because that's when we kind of created like an incredible, community, and people like really go into getting to know us, and it just felt, we're very, very grateful for that, part of our lives.
Now let's talk about how you ended up here, because obviously you're from Brazil.
Yeah.
Tell us the story of how you and Casey met, because I love this story and it is a whirlwind. And I saw your TikTok the other day about like take me back to the start one, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even do that. That's amazing. So tell us about how you and Casey met.
So I actually came to England in 2014. It was meant to be just like a summer camp, because growing up, I did quite a few camps where I would just go to, like America, and I would spend a month there. So that's basically how I learned how to speak English. So it was during the World Cup, which is weird. Like he couldn't get his head around how I was here. And, there was a whole World Cup happening in Brazil. Basically, I came here to study. And then we just met down the beach, like in Brighton, because it was the World Cup. They used to have like that big screen by the pier. So I was there watching the game. He was there with his friends. And I still don't really know how he actually came over to talk to me. Like it all kind of happened, when you're on holiday and I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to talk to people. Like, I was just so kind of in my own little bubble. I just didn't really think, never in a million years thought that I was actually meeting my future husband. So we basically met down the beach, and we just spent a whole month together. We literally met on my second day here. So I was a student studying English, and we met on my second day, and we just kind of spent every moment after, I had classes, we just meet up and we had like a summer romance, like,
Grace.
No, it literally was like the movies. Like you couldn't even write it. We always talk about that moment in time, because I was a student, he was like working for his dad, so we literally had no money basically to be doing. So we didn't have any like fancy dates or anything. All we would do would just meet down the beach in Brighton and just be talking for hours, and just like walk to the pier. And it was just so like generally so wholesome and so funny as well, because I was learning English, and the English accent was really difficult for me. So like even back then, I was really used to the American accent. So at first, like we didn't really understand each other. So like he'll be asking me a question and I'll be going, yeah. And just where he was thinking like, I've just asked you like, whatever. But we just got on, and it just kind of went from there. So then I went back home, and I actually applied for uni in England, in Brighton, and I got my acceptance letter, and I just moved like a year later. So that's basically how it kind of all started and how I ended up here.
Yeah. So that's amazing. One thing I'd love to talk about with you, like I feel like this is going to go a bit like here, there, and everywhere, just because so many things that I want to talk about and I don't want to forget them. Is obviously you're not from around here. And then having kids, did you find that quite isolating? Because obviously, like when I've had kids and stuff, my friends have all had kids at the same time. Obviously, you had kids quite young as well. How did you, I think a lot of people will relate to that because of like life nowadays with like long distance relationships, that we can literally date anyone from anywhere now, but then when it comes to like living together, you've got to choose somewhere to live. With work, with house prices, a lot of people will be having kids not around people they know. Sort of how did you deal with that, and what would you recommend to people who might be in the same position?
Oh, it was really hard. Like I said, obviously we had kids when we were really young. And also one thing that I didn't take into consideration is culturally, like it's so different. You know, there's so many things that I kind of had to adjust to being in a new country, obviously being away from my family, which was really hard. And being away, we didn't have any friends that had kids. So we kind of just had to do it all, just kind of like learning as we went, you know. And to be honest, that wasn't much we could do. You know, that's not, we just kind of like just went along with it and just lived every day as you can. But at the same time, it brought us closer. Like then, you know, we had each other from day one, and I wouldn't be able to do it without him. So I feel like really lucky that we were together throughout this whole journey, and we kind of had each other. And even with my family, like they would not near or not even near as close as they wanted to be. But whenever my mum could, you know, she would come over. So yeah, it was definitely like a journey, not an easy one, but ultimately, like I'm so glad that we went through that together. And it's just, like I said, it just brought us stronger. So yeah, I feel like anyone out there that's going through the same, they can probably appreciate that it's not easy, let alone if it's like a whole different culture as well. But you know, it's just
You seem to have a good group of like mum friends now. Is that from like school and just sort of like putting yourself out there, being like, "Hi, we'll have kids the same age." As you said.
yeah, so honestly, from school, because the one thing that I really regret not doing when I was, you know, pregnant is I didn't actually go to any baby classes. I didn't even really know there was a thing because, like I said, from Brazil, we don't really have that culture of going to like baby classes and baby groups. So I wish if that's one thing I regret is probably going back then, and I feel like that would have been a way to obviously go into me other pregnant women that was around the same time, having kids around the same time that I did. So I didn't have any mom friends back then. And yes, now that the kids are in school, then I found like my mom group, you know, I found my little tribe. We all have kids around the same age. But yeah, I didn't really take, you know, I was like quite lonely. I didn't have any friends. But we all get there. That's, you know, that's how I
Yeah.
say. It's just now it's been what Hala's going to be 8 now, and it's probably been a few years that I've just finally kind of managed to find my way in.
She's so like Harlow. I feel like she looks like you, but she also looks like Casey. And then the other day I was watching one of Saffron's vlogs, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's so like Saffron as well." It's it's crazy,
She
but
is. I feel like she's a mix. Like she's got a bit of, you know,
yeah,
we hear all sorts of things. Some people say like, "Oh my God, she's your mini you," and then other people say, "No, she looks so much like Casey," but she's just, yeah, she's definitely. I feel like we say she's like the mixed one, whereas like Lake is just me. Like
yeah.
no questions in it. Like some pictures of me when I was a baby, people be like, "Oh my God, is that Lake with like long hair?" Because he looks like identical, and then Remy is just 100% Casey.
I saw that she's going into a big bed.
Oh no, so yes, she started saying now that she wants to go to her big bed. So she's two, right? And by this time, both Hollow and Lake, my eldest, they had like, I say big girl bed, it's just not a cot. It's basically like a toddler bed. And I feel like because she's got older siblings, she really looks up to them. So she feels a lot more grown up than, you know, I remember the other two being, even though for her, because she's my first, she's my baby. So now she's asking for a big girl bed. And we're like, oh, just hold up. Because like the moment we say yes, and that's basically
Yeah.
it. It's closing like a chapter in our lives and no
Like
more babies.
with the older kids as well, it's like Harlow's in a cot and then you have Lake. So it's like, okay, like Lake's a baby, so he's in the cot, so you're in a big girl. And same with Lake when Remy came along. And Remy, it's like, actually, no, you can stay in a cot forever because like you're the last one.
I mean, do you feel like with Stanley, where you're very excited for him to hit milestones and like, you know, is he still in the call?
He's still in a cot because I do also use it as a bit of a playpen. Sometimes, like I'm at home my and I need to have a shower. I'm like, who wants to watch Pepper in their cot? Because he has when we moved into this house, my brother and his girlfriend at the time, now wife, had like a surplus of tellies because they both had flats and they moved into a house together. So my brother like lent me his really nice telly. And then we had a media wall built, and we were like, we can't put a telly that we don't own in the media wall. So we bought a new telly. So we had this giant telly. I said, "Do you want it back?" And he was like, "Oh, I haven't got anywhere to put it at the moment." So I was like, "Okay, we'll chuck it in our spare room." That obviously then became Stanley's bedroom. So he has like life-size Peppa Pig in his bedroom.
Oh my God, that's the
It's
dream.
quite good for me, like when I'm packing for holiday and stuff, because I can watch EastEnders like
Oh,
while I'm packing.
he's
Uh,
London, isn't it? His birthday's in July. Is
March,
that? March. Oh yeah, so he had his birthday. He's just turned 2 now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Sundays he's still in his cot 'cause I like using it as a playpen for him to watch telly. Um, but we've got the IKEA daybed in his bedroom. And mummy, I want to sleep on that bed. So I was like, okay, cool. So I like put him down on it, like bolstered it out with pillows, put pillows on the floor because I thought as soon as he's asleep, I'll put him back in his cot, but I'll make him think that he's going to bed. And I literally sat outside his room and I text Sam, like, I never thought I'd say this, but I think we should change Stanley's cot to a bed. As I'm texting this, Stanley's like, Mummy, I don't like this bed.
Oh, changed his mind.
I went in, I was like, it's okay, Stanley. That's like, you can go and sleep in your cot. Like, thank
Oh,
you for telling Mummy. Thank you for not just climbing out. Like, I'm proud of you for trying, proud of
that's
you for asking for help.
yeah.
We can try it again when you're bigger. And he was like, yeah. And he looked so happy when he went to sleep. I was like, oh, so yeah, I don't, not any
Not
time
in a rush. Yeah.
no.
I mean, so, like with Harlow, we were so excited. Like we just, like, oh my gosh, she wants a bed. Yes, let's get her a bed. Like she's growing
Yeah.
up. Whereas now with Remy, because she's at last, we just really trying to hold on to like, oh my god, like she's not a baby anymore. But I
Right.
feel like they're always gonna be our babies. I mean, I still feel like that. Like obviously Harlow is a girl now, she's gonna be A, but she's still like we just have that image of her, of all the kids being, like we're gonna have that forever.
I think, yeah, I think I get a lot of stick from my friends and family about the fact because Stanley's so tall and because he's had his like big boy haircut since he was like 11 months old,
Yeah.
I get so much of him. And I get a lot of stick from my friends and family. They're like, you got to remember, like I put him on a roller coaster in Disney when he was like
Yeah.
2 in 3 days because I was like, well, he's tall enough so he can go on.
That's so you. That's so you. You're like, you're going on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I like try and do like the other day I took him to the cinema and stuff and I'm like, oh, like I need to remember he is only just 2. I need to like try and just like enjoy the
Yeah.
2-year-old stage, not I think in my head he's like 3.5, 4. So I think like some people obviously keep trying to keep the kids really young, but I'm like, yeah, come on, let's do this. But like you said, it's because he's my first probably. And when I get to
That's how I felt with Harlow. Like even when we had Christmas once, like she was her first Christmas, she was literally like 3 months. And we're like, oh my god, why is she not excited about Santa? Like it's so
yeah,
it's 3 months old. But we're like, come on, like, we're literally so like just so eager to see her going for all the stages. And obviously now, everyone says that enjoy it because it goes so fast. But then now we really like we get it. Once you've gone through it, it's like it's true. We literally like
yeah.
basically no babies. Like they're free, they're just growing up. So yeah.
I think with Christmas, one thing that I really regret is because Stanley's birthday is March. Because I'm a July baby, I always obviously like 6 months between Christmas and my birthday. It was always so easy for mum and dad
That's
to
perfect. Yeah, like got a cut off point. Yeah.
yeah. Whereas it's literally like 9 weeks between Christmas and Stanley's birthday.
Yeah.
So it's literally his first Christmas. I bought so much stuff. So then for his birthday, I then had to like age up with the toys and all the stuff I bought him for his first birthday, he didn't really touch till sort of like November of that year. So when it came to like Christmas last year, I was like, everyone was suggesting things to me. I was like, we've already got that, already got that.
Stop it. Should have. I've done that before when they're so young. You give them loads of stuff for Christmas. They're like, okay, we're just gonna they haven't used it yet. Let's just rewrap it again for the
Oh,
birthday.
no, I'm not about doing that, but that's a good idea. This year, like, there's a couple of things already that he wants, and I'm thinking like it's like this second half of the year is going to go so fast.
Mm.
Don't need to buy it now. Now, one thing I really wanted to talk to you about was you shared a lot on your Instagram story, and I know that it's helped a lot of my friends who are suffering as well, is your endometriosis journey. And obviously you've been put into an early menopause at the age of 28. So
Yeah.
how did you find out that you had endometriosis?
So this is actually such a tricky question because looking back, I feel like I had it my whole life. I had symptoms since, like the moment I had periods, they were always horrible. Like ever since I met Casey, he always knew that like during my period, I was like a different person, like so much pain, just so. And however, there are 4 different stages to endometriosis. So I feel like I obviously had some sort of, just like early stages because again, luckily, this is one thing that I'm literally can't even stress enough. I've been so lucky to have my kids because I know so many women out there suffer with it and they, suffer with fertility. So that's the one thing I'm always so grateful for that I was able to have them. But I feel like I've suffered my whole life, but I've only was diagnosed recently after my third pregnancy, which is when all of my symptoms kind of went off the charts and everything that I had intensified like tenfold. And, it got to the point that I couldn't ignore it. So that's when I got diagnosed last year, which again, I feel like a lot of women out there will resonate that it's not an easy process. You don't just get like a diagnosis, women it takes years and years for women to get diagnosed, unfortunately. But yeah, I can't pinpoint.
You kept going into hospital and they kept being like, oh, I think you've just got like some sort of infection.
I could literally write a list of things I was diagnosed before having endometriosis. So for me, it started on my third pregnancy, my last pregnancy. The moment I got pregnant, I was really ill, like so ill. I found out I had a cyst just before I got pregnant, but they said there's not much they could do about it. Just kind of have to leave it out. But then from the moment I got pregnant, I had hyper. I can never say it. Hyper Mrs. Gravidin.
Yeah, hypergravidarum. Yeah.
So I had that where I was literally sick constantly. Like it was, horrendous. I feel like that kind of really affected me my whole life in general, or even like with work. Like that's when we kind of stopped posting on YouTube. We kind of like took a step back because I couldn't, cope having to look after the kids. So anyways, was really ill throughout my pregnancy. I actually had my appendix out, I was 16 weeks pregnant, which again was just a whole experience. It was crazy. And then I was also in and out of hospital during my pregnancy with so much pain that no one could explain what it was. They said, oh, maybe it's just a pregnancy, but it was all like, on my abdomen. Anyways, cut long story short, now that I've seen a consultant, they said that it was potentially endometriosis, and you can actually suffer with endometriosis even when you're pregnant, which I think is like another misconception, because a lot of doctors would tell women to, get pregnant, that will cure it, but unfortunately that's not always the case. So I think for me, my hormones caused my endometriosis to kind of like escalate the way it did, because from the moment she was born, I was so ill. Like I was, I was kind of like eager to be discharged from the hospital because I wanted to get home to, introduce it to my family and everyone. But on the car journey from the hospital to home, I was just being sick. Like I had to basically, I got home, Remy, I had to drop Remy off and I had to go back to hospital because I was so ill. And from that moment, it kind of like, I feel like I've been ill ever, like just constant. So, went for my 6-week checkup, and I was like, there's something not right with me. And, like I said, they diagnosed me with so many other things. At first, I thought I had an UTI. Then they even thought I had colon cancer. That's how bad it got. Like I got put into like a pathway, like a 2-week pathway, because I had blood on my stools, which is again another symptom of endometriosis. And I, within 2 days, I had a colonoscopy, and they said, oh, actually, it's not that. So we literally gone round in circles. And like I said, I know so many women have gone through the same. And this is why it's a fight for us to get diagnosed, because it's really hard and you have to really, really suffer. Like I've done, countless of scans. They put me on a coil twice and I had to get it out twice, because on both times it made my endometriosis like worse. I had to be in hospital. And then it was on my second time when I had my coil that I got admitted into hospital that I literally felt like I hit rock bottom. I was so ill and just so hopeless. I was like, I just don't know what to do. Like, this is not normal. And then that's when they said, okay, we're going to try one thing that we think that we've got suspected endometriosis. So we're going to try you on the artificial menopause, which is the injection that I get every month. And
a little grain of rice, isn't it? Is that right?
was that? Yeah.
And the Zoleplex,
it's like a little implant. So they basically like have to put you in, like through the injection is like an implant that they put it in your tummy. So that's when I started my treatment, which was last year. And then, yeah, it just kind of went from there. So for the past year, I've been going through the menopause. Had like the symptoms, but again, as compared to how I was feeling before, like I would take that any day. I've gone through the hot sweats and the headaches, and it's funny because my mother-in-law was going through the menopause as well, so we're always like, oh look, we're going through it together. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the reality.
Yeah, I saw the other day you said as well that you can only be on Zoladex for 2 years.
Well, originally they said 6 months. So my situation now is that I had my MRI and they identified where my endometriosis is. So I have to have surgery with a consultant. So it can't just be like a gyno, like a general, it has to be someone that specializes on endometriosis. So obviously waiting to have that surgery now. So they said at first, you can only be on it for 6 months. And then obviously 6 months came around and I'm just waiting. So I've been on it for a year now. I think So what happens now is I may have to start having like bone scans, because obviously the injection stops you from having your hormones, and because I'm so young, I kind of still need those hormones to make me strong again. So I'm not sure exactly what's gonna happen now. I'm just like, it's fine. Like I can wait, but as long as I have that injection, then it's just the only thing that kind of keeps me going. So yeah.
And if any listeners are thinking, wow, like you're amazing to go through all that, I would just like to add as well, when Remy was what, 6 weeks old, Casey had a heart attack on the day after they'd had their kitchen ripped out. So she was looking after three children, Casey with no kitchen.
And no, and do you know what's crazy? I'd never said that. But the day that Casey had his heart attack was the first day they took her to the GP because I was so ill. So that was the first. So I had my 6 week appointment, kind of said what was going on. And then this was between Christmas and New Year's.
Mm.
So I think it was like the 26th or something. It was like the only day that was so easy to get an appointment at the GP, which I was so happy about. Like we rung up. It's just like when no one knows what day it is. And they said, okay, you can come in now. So then I went to the GP. They said I've had an UTI, gave me antibiotics, got home. 20 minutes later, Casey was getting like furniture to build Remy's nursery. And that's when he got really ill. And then I took him to hospital. So yeah, this is what I mean. It's been a crazy
crazy
years. Yeah, a lot. But that's what they say. What doesn't kill makes you stronger. So
like you guys are such like, and obviously having spent time with you all, you guys are such like a fabulous family. And like, what's next for you guys? Like, what do you, obviously you've done, like obviously you're not having any more kids. So what is like the next 5 years for you and Casey?
So with all the health stuff going on, like our main priority. So we got engaged in 2020. And we were actually planning on getting married 2 years later. But then obviously with everything that happened, we just cancelled the wedding. We're like, right, our main priority now is to be healthy, get strong, be healthy, and just kind of get ourselves back on track. So we cancelled the wedding, and now everyone's like, when are you getting married? So that is definitely our next big thing, is to actually get married, because it was meant to happen years ago. We're having like a long engagement, 5 years engaged. But yeah, definitely our main biggest goals now are get healthy and then get married.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are lucky though, because you met so like young, you'll still be like young and glamorous when you get married, even if it's a really long engagement. Like me and Sam, I was like, I'm getting on. Like we need to.
Yeah, you're on it. No, but you know what? That's the one thing now as well, because it's been so long, and it's just one of those things, like we need to actually get married. But then I'm like, I actually don't mind delaying it, because we've had our kids, and because we're so young and we've gone through that. I feel like I want to just, it's quite exciting to have that one big thing to happen still.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm like, okay, we're gonna take our time. I'm gonna wait for him to have my surgery, then we'll see what happens, because then yeah, that's how it is. There's no kind of right or wrong. We all have a different timelines. Like we still had our kids young, but then now we're delaying the wedding. It's gonna happen, but yeah, that's definitely our next big thing, I think.
Because I think like once you've had all your kids and you've got married and like you've done all the hen do's and stuff, then it's like, oh, so I've got to like just like live life now. Okay. Cool. Something exciting happening. Okay, let's I'm going to see my friends at parties.
You know what? This is what I was talking to Casey about, like, because kind of deciding to have your last baby is such a big thing. Like, especially for us, and for me, I've always wanted to have a family. Like, I've always wanted to have kids. And the same with Casey. Like, he is such an amazing dad. Like, generally, he's so hands-on. And he actually knew a lot more than I did. Like when Harlow was born, because he had like young cousins in the family. Like if anything, I felt like I was a little bit like awkward. Like I didn't know what to do. Like that's just baby. And he was just so hands-on, and he's just so on it. He genuinely loves. Like he's like the epitome of like a dad. Like he has his dad jokes. Like he's so proud of it. Sorry, I lost what I was gonna say. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so then it's quite sad to just suddenly like, okay, this is it, we're gonna have no kids. But then now the way I'm looking at it, I'm trying to look on the flip side and be like, actually, it's quite exciting that we then now have more time to spend with each other. And one of my big things now is I'm trying to like find myself again, because I'm sure you can relate, and everyone else out there, that every time you have kids, it does take up a lot on us. Our lives become the kids. Like for me, especially not like having 3 pregnancies within 5 years, like I kind of forgot who I was. It's like, what do I actually like to do? I had that moment where it was like, you just kind of like so automatic, like just doing things for the kids that you forget what it's like. Like the same thing with the friends. Like I found my mom friends now, like we're going out, which is something that we just didn't really do. It was all to the kids, for the kids. But actually, it's really nice to find yourself again and to, I feel like I'm a better mom looking after myself.
Yeah.
You know,
You tried reformer Pilates?
was that?
You tried reformer Pilates?
No, I have to. I've seen that you're really on it, aren't you?
I am part of the cult.
I,
I'm part of the cult of running and also the cult of reformer Pilates now. And I am like trying to just get like new members to the cult. But no, it is amazing. Like I literally love it. And we do date nights to reformer Pilates now because yeah, because we have to wear makeup every day to go up and do Love Island. I'm just like, oh, like I don't want to make up. I don't want to see anyone. So we
no.
go to Pilates, then we go and get a takeaway in the car.
Oh my God, that's perfect. So how does Sam feel? Does he love his Pilates?
Loves it because he's got such bad back that it's
Yeah.
helping him with his back.
This is the thing as well with me, because obviously with endometriosis, like I really struggle to like do exercise. I feel like every time I push myself at the gym, it would end up causing like a flare up. So over the past year, I've been really trying to find something that was like kind of like a middle ground, because I was like, I want to find myself again, but I've really struggled with the exercise and even like with the eating. Whereas now I realized that I can do like low impact, like cardio. I'll do some light weights, but I've heard amazing things about Pilates, so maybe I need to join the cult as well.
Yeah, you need to join it. You need to join it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. So the Nacy family on YouTube, I love their vlogs. Like literally, I am a friend and a fan. And I love watching them. And Nicole and Casey are both on Instagram. And again, you want to follow them. Obviously, Nicole's with us today, but she does amazing content. But Casey's content as well is so. I've never seen a man do so much washing. You must have such a big airing cupboard. Like there's like the amount of bedding that man buys. Like
This is the thing, like he's so excited, like he does the things for the kids, but it's actually secretly from himself.
yeah.
He gets so into it.
I see like American like mums doing like Bluey sleepover, and it's like they get like the blue beds and stuff, and they do like I could drive-in movie sleepover, and I keep sending them Sam, and he's like, where are we going to put all this stuff? And I'm like, this is true. This is true. Okay.
Well, we've got a garage, as you just see our garage. It's like a stock.
Right.
It's got like boxes of like certain things. We've got literally things for everything, because we
Yeah.
just pull it out. It's Casey's pride and joy.
That's why I said to Sam, I was like, when we get a new house, the first thing I want is a garage with loads of shelving so that I can start getting on my seasonal vibes and like
Love it.
there. But thank you so much. And thank you so much to all of you for listening. And I'll be back next week with another fabulous guest. Mwah.